welcome back to my channel, Maiora. How are you doing? I'm so glad you're here. Once again, it's Sarah here, you know that, and today I am going to talk about a very, well, not very, a quite complex and tricky topic, okay? You have requested this video a lot, and so I'm glad to be here today and talk about this topic actually, which concerns those verbs which are followed by ing forms or eventually by two infinitive forms. So let's start saying that there are verbs which are followed by other verbs, okay? And it's quite spontaneous for us to conjugate the second verb in an infinitive form. But unfortunately, it's not always correct, because some verbs want the other verb, the following verb, to be a gerund, okay, in an ing form. So I have divided my whiteboard and verbs in general into 4 groups, okay? Those verbs that want other verbs, okay, in an ing form, so a gerund. Those verbs that can be followed by an ing form or an infinitive form, either one or the other, there's no difference, it doesn't make a difference. Then those verbs that can be followed by both forms actually, but they are not the same. There is actually a slight difference. And finally, those verbs which are actually followed by both forms, so ing or infinitive, but actually they have a completely different meaning. So let's start from the very beginning. So those verbs that actually don't give us a choice, okay? We have no choice here. We have a verb and we have to use an ing form after that verb. We can do anything else actually. Like for example, to admit. I admit doing this, or I admit having done this. Or avoid. I avoid spending time with negative people. Okay, it's not I avoid to spend time, that's wrong. Avoid spending, so avoid plus ing form. Consider. I consider going to Australia next year. It's not I consider to go to Australia, that's wrong, so it's the ing form, so it's compulsory. Then deny, when we say no, basically, I deny being her friend. Okay, so I'm saying that I am not her friend. I can't say I deny to be her friend. That's wrong. I must use the ing form. And again, finish. I have just finished doing my homework, for example. I can't say I have just finished to do my homework or something. I keep going. That's quite common, okay? This is something probably that we will never make a mistake here, because it's a very common form. Miss. I miss traveling. This is something we say a lot in these years, isn't it? Okay, I miss traveling. It's not that I miss to travel, we can say that. Postpone. I postpone traveling again. Practice, okay, practice doing something. Risk. I risk doing something. It's not I risk to do, okay, it's risk doing. And then these forms here, these phrases here, idioms. I can't stand being late, okay? I can't stand being late. I hate that thing, okay? I can't say I can't stand to be late. That's wrong, okay? I have to use the ing form. Not to mind. I don't mind helping you. This is quite common expression when, for example, I am offering you something or offering you some help or whatever, and you say, oh, don't bother, I don't want you to do that, I don't want to disturb you. I don't mind doing this. I don't mind helping you. This is quite common. And remember that it is always followed by an ing form. I can say, I don't mind to help you. That's wrong. And carry on, keep up. First of all, when we have a verb like keep, for example, which requires an ing form after. In this case, even when we add a preposition and it becomes a phrasal verb, keep on, keep up, it will still use the ing form after it, okay? So it won't change. If it becomes a phrasal verb, it doesn't really change its nature. And carry on, I carry on, you have to carry on fighting, you have to carry on doing what you're trying to do. So that's the idea. There are obviously other verbs. These are not all the verbs in the universe that actually want an ing form after them. There are others, but this is a good selection for you to remember, okay? Because putting too many verbs here would make it impossible for you to learn them by heart, and that's the only way you can learn them, because there is no specific, there's nothing you can use or I don't know, something you can think about. You just have to learn the list, basically. Now, let's shift to the other group here, which concerns actually verbs that are followed either by an ing form or by an infinitive, to infinitive, and they have the same meaning, so there is no problem here. We can use either one with no problems. These verbs are, for example, begin. I begin doing something, but I begin to do something. It's right, anyway. Same goes for start. There are also synonyms. I start doing my homeworks. I'm starting to do my homework. It's fine, either way. Continue. So I continue talking. I continue to talk. It's correct. Bother. Don't bother doing this thing, or I don't bother doing this thing. I intend to do something, or I intend doing something. I intend to meet you soon, or I intend meeting you soon. It's correct. Okay, either way. Why have I don't know, I have emphasized these three verbs here, begin, start and continue, because normally, especially in old grammars, these verbs that mean start, finish, continue, stop, okay, were classified in a group that belonged to this this part here, so verbs plus an ing form, okay? Nowadays, some of them, begin, start and continue, have changed, okay, their group, and they can be followed either by the ing form or by the to infinitive, okay? But pay attention, only the three of them. Finish is still one of the verbs that have to be followed by the ing form, okay? So this huge group of verbs meaning starting, finishing, continuing, stopping, whatever, okay, they were all together. Now this group is kind of divided, split into other groups, and finish is still part of the verbs that are followed by the ing form, while begin, start and continue belong to this group here. So they can be followed either by the ing form or by the to infinitive form, okay? So pay attention. If you don't want to make mistakes, you can still use the ing form with all of them, okay? So it's correct for this verb here, finish, and also for the others, okay? So you just can't make mistakes there. Then let's go here. So these two categories here are actually quite similar, because here above we had verbs that only want the ing form or are actually can actually be followed by both forms. These two groups under here, they are quite similar because both of them can be followed by we can say both forms, okay, either ing or to. But there is a difference, okay, in the meaning of the sentence while you use one or the other. And this difference can be very slight, okay, very tiny in this case, but it is it's absolutely huge in this case here. Okay, so the choice, okay, you make to use either the ing form or the to infinitive is, well, can mean a small difference here, but a huge difference here. Let's start with the small difference. Now, these verbs here, hate, like, love, prefer, you can see that all these verbs are talking about something you enjoy or don't enjoy. Okay. Also, in this case, they are a sort of a group, and they are quite similar because of their meaning, which is, of course, hate is the opposite of love, we know that, but the idea of liking or not liking something. Now, generally talking, they were considered, especially in British English, and in British English they still are considered, necessarily followed by the ing form. This is why at school it is often required to use the ing form after those verbs here. But I have to say that nowadays they can be followed by both forms, ing or to infinitive form. But they're not really the same. So let's say that when I use the ing form, I want to focus on the action and express my enjoyment, or not enjoyment, in doing that, okay, in experience that thing. When I use to, I am expressing sort of an habit. Let's make an example here. If I say I like dancing, it means that I enjoy that activity. And I focus on the activity itself. I like dancing. This is something that I like to do. That I like doing, really. But if I use the to infinitive and I say I like to dance, it's something like saying I like to go. Okay, I like to dance. So it's something more similar to the idea of having this habit, okay, and loving this habit more than the activity itself. I like swimming. It means that I really like being there, okay, in the water and moving, whatever. If I say I like to go swimming, I'd say that, well, this is more of an habit. I like the fact that I can go and do this thing, maybe, I don't know, regularly or something. So it's more focused on the habit, that's obviously a very slight difference. Another difference, and that's not slight, is that the to infinitive form is more common in the American English. I said more common because I had to say more common, but actually it's common only in American English, we can say so. So when you are maybe, I don't know, you're at school, you're writing your, I don't know, text for beginners, like your introduction or a test or an exam. Here in Europe, I'm talking specifically of how things are here in Europe. Well, I would suggest you to use the ing form, okay? That will certainly be accepted. The other form could eventually be controversial, we can say so. Anyway, another example to emphasize the difference here, I like writing novels means that I I like being there, okay, and typing and thinking and imagining my plot, my characters. So it's something that I really enjoy, an activity that I really enjoy. But if I say I like to write novels and wait for the reader's reaction, in this case the focus is not on the action itself, but on the result, okay, on the fact that I have written that novel. So it's not. Well, I'm not saying that I enjoy the moment, okay, while I am writing. I'm saying that I enjoy the fact of writing or even having written a novel and the consequences. So it's more generical. So this is basically the difference. It's very slight, and it's very... now I am really venturing into a very complex and tricky field, because there are many different interpretations, and it depends on the area, on the country, and on the speaker, and so many other things. So anyway, the traditional version was hate like love, prefer plus ing form. That was the traditional one, but we have to be updated actually, and to recognize and to know when the language is changing. Now, in this case here, we have no doubts. Okay, there is not a slight difference or something that depends on what we want to convey or something. There is either a right version or a wrong one. And especially I'm talking about these 4 verbs here: remember and regret, stop and try. In this case, they definitely can use either the ing form or the to infinitive form, but the meaning is completely different. Let's make an example. Remember and regret can be followed by the ing form, of course, when this ing form is referred to the past. They're followed by the to infinitive, when it is referring to a future action. Let's make an example. Remember. I remember meeting you last summer, okay? So I am remembering now something that happened in the past, last summer when I met you. I remember meeting you. But if I tell you, remember to close the door when you go out, then I'm reminding you, I'm telling you to remember to do something in the future. And it's sort of a warning, okay? Remember to do something, and you haven't done that yet. Obviously, it's in the future. Same goes for regret. I regret doing that thing means that I am sorry because I have done that thing. I regret to do something means that I am sorry that I have to do that thing. I'm sorry because I have to do that thing in the future. Well, stop, that's another story. So stop has these 2 possibilities, and they're not just different, they are the opposite. Stop and ing form means give up. Okay, stop talking. Stop talking means that you have to stop talking right now, okay? Give it up. Close your mouth right now. But if I say, I stopped to talk to her, it means that I was walking on the street and I decided to stop in order to talk to her. So it's the opposite. I didn't stop talking, okay? I stopped doing something else in order to talk to someone. So this is completely different, okay? So the ing form means give something up, and the to infinity means to stop in order to do something else. Okay, so this is completely different. And pay attention, because stop traditionally belonged to this group here: begin, start, continue, and finish. Stop, of course, is similar, okay? Begin, continue, stop, or finish, okay? So begin or start, continue, stop and finish. So they are obviously semantically they were considered a group. Now we said that this group has been split into into other groups. Okay, we know that begin, start, and continue can use both forms. Finish can only use the ing form. Stop can use both forms, but with two different meanings. So my general advice, if I can give you any advice, is to when you don't mean something specific, like in this case that you stopped in order to do something else, which is very, very specific. For all these verbs you can use, okay, with all these verbs you can use the ing form and you will never make mistakes, okay? It will be fine for the three of them, because obviously they're fine either way. It's fine for finish, because that it's only possibility. It's fine when you use this verb here, to stop, because that actually means stop, you know, so give up doing something. So they are all, we can say, they are fine when you use the ing form after them. The to and infinitive can lead you to some mistakes because finish can't use it, stop can use it, but in a different way, so you have to be a little careful there. Finally, okay, this is our last verb for today. It's a verb to try. To try. Also in this case the meaning is a little bit different. If we use the ing form, it means to give it a try, to experiment something. I am trying, or better, I try writing a novel. I try writing a novel. So it means that I am making an effort in order to do that. I'm experimenting and I am giving it a try. Okay. It's a little bit different with the to infinitive, because it means making an attempt at something. Like for example, well, I try to go to sleep earlier. Okay, it's not making it, I mean, an effort, because I don't know if I'm able to go to bed earlier. It means that I am experimenting, I'm trying, I am sort of making an attempt at something, and I don't know if it works or not, if I will be able to sleep or not, if I am able to sleep or not, sorry. And so this is a sort of an attempt. But they are definitely different, okay? The first one is experimenting something, the other one is making an attempt. That's the difference, basically. All right, I move away from my whiteboard in order to let you, I don't know, make notes or take a screenshot or whatever you want to do. And I hope that this lesson, we can call it so, could be useful for you. This is sort of a summary, okay? So there's 4 groups, verbs that necessarily have an ing form after them, verbs that can be followed either by to infinitive or ing form, and here below verbs that can actually be followed by either by ing or the to infinitive form, but there is a slight difference or a huge difference in this case here. So this is I think quite complete summary. Obviously there are other situations, examples, exceptions. We know how many exceptions there are in English, so we know that, but I think it's a good way to start and divide those verbs in your mind, basically. All right, I hope it was useful, and I hope you will keep on following my channel, and so please subscribe the channel and hit the bell if you want to receive notifications. We have started with the live streams too, and for the moment they were live streams in Italian, but if you want we can also try and schedule new live streams in English too, for example. Why not? Okay, I'd like to know your opinions and your ideas. Okay, I'm always here for you. Thank you so very much for following, and see you very soon again with Maiora. Bye!